Hey y'all, now that our water tanks have vented properly, we're gonna move on to the next project, and that involves removing that little blackhead from the boat. Look at that blemish up there on an otherwise fine vessel. That is one of the units we're gonna install together. The one that's on the roof still is gonna go and be installed in the V-berth. And this one is going to heat and cool out here. Now, did you notice what I said? Heat and cool. So that's the next big project, but this will be fun. I'm glad you guys are gonna come along with us on this adventure. Yeah, let's unbox. Ta-da! Okay, we're not going to go through a complete and detailed unboxing because that's already been done. This is one generation older than what's the latest, so who's really going to care? But a couple quick tips. So for those of you who want to be on a boat or do live on a boat and you get these in your packaging, you don't eat them, but you can put them places, like put them in your locker, put them near your books. So small ones like these, stick them in with your documents. So either your boat documents, if you have a safe aboard your boat with your documents, throw a few of these in with your documents. So we hang on to those and we use them. Other things that we've got. This I wanted to call out too. This is the drain tube, and it's not interesting. The drain tube is not interesting whatsoever. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because when we've been testing the unit that you saw on the coach roof, when we've been testing that for, it's got to be almost a year now, we've noticed that it's a fantastic dehumidifier. This thing dried out the boat better than our dehumidifier that we keep in the head, like a separate standalone dehumidifier unit. This thing outperformed that. So that's a huge bonus that we didn't really plan for or predict or think about or hope for or buy for. We just started using it and the humidity in the boat went down. So that was a huge win. The other thing is this guy. So the battery pack. This guy here, the reason why I wanted to also use the battery pack is so that we can just run off of this as our primary. We don't have to always run off of the house bank or the shore power. We have the battery pack, and this thing was on sale too. So I feel like, so between the two units and the two extra batteries and all these extra supplies, it was less than the diesel heater unit that we got. Some of those Chinese diesel heater units are super affordable and cheap, but we kind of went mid-range on those. I wasn't too sure about the cheap Chinese diesel heaters aboard our living space where we would rely on it full time. I just didn't feel like cheap Chinese plus diesel fuel plus a lot of heat. I didn't want to take that risk. I don't know if there's ever been issues with them. I don't know, but I didn't want to be the first one to find out. So yeah, now what I need to do is figure out where to install this thing. Here's the plan. We are only going to use for right now the battery pack plugged into 110 while we're here on the dock. For two main reasons. One, time and urgency. I really don't have a lot of time right now before the weather starts getting a lot cooler and wetter. So instead of wiring the boat for DC power or solar power or whatever, we're just going to plug in for now. Two, the majority of the time when we were out, so I don't know if you guys know, but I sailed halfway around the world. I left from Western Australia, crossed the Indian Ocean, went south of the Cape of Good Hope, and then crossed over the Atlantic Ocean. And that was about a 2-year trip. And during that time, whenever we were on anchor, we were quite comfortable from a temperature wise, weather wise. We were comfortable. We were out there in the breeze, swinging on anchor. The boat, it was quite comfortable. The times where it got really hot aboard the boat was when we were in a marina. So surrounded by other boats or buildings or land or trees, like it blocks the wind. The wind might come from a different direction and not be able to come inside your boat as easily as if you're on anchor. So right now, I'm kind of setting this up to be used when we are at the dock. So at the dock with shore power. And that's okay, because we haven't taken the boat out yet. I tell you guys almost every video that we're not taking the boat out today and we're doing boat work. So I think it's okay if I just use shore power for this. But honestly, it's very efficient. It sips on the shore power. It doesn't even, when this one's going, my my amperage draw for my shore power, it barely even registers on my, I mean, it is an analog meter, but it barely even registers. So sipping on shore power will be just fine. In the future, I did get these. I got 2 of these as extra. So this is a way to charge it off of just like a 12 volt, like you'd have in your cigarette lighter in your car, like this type of style. This 12 volt barrel style plug that's plugged into the unit. So you can charge your battery or run it off of your 12 volt power. So when I'm ready to install this more like permanently or off-grid friendly, we'll be using these. I'll snip the tip here, cut this off, throw that away, and then splice in to the 12 volt system. But that's a future project. We don't need to do that right now. Again, it's primarily for right now while we're here on the dock. So I'm gonna get started on figuring out where to put it. It is not small, as you can see, and the battery itself adds bulk and weight too. So where it will go is a current unknown. I have ideas, but yeah, I'm not quite sure yet about where. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? That's it. I think that's it for now. Yeah, I'm gonna start kind of getting the plan together. Sorry for all that talking. But as you guys know, it really does help me to talk it through with you. So I'm gonna get some planning going and see where I can fit this thing where it's out of the way and could be installed so we can start using it. All right, I'll do that and I'll bring you guys in as soon as I have something interesting. Doesn't that look funny? Take me to your leader. Okay, so that's the unit. And space. Gotta have space. That's a dilemma for any boat this size. Bigger boats, smaller boats. There's like need space. Actually, did you know that there's a symptom called 2-foot-itis? Yeah, it's not something I've made up, but 2-foot-itis is you just want a 2 foot longer boat. If we could only have a 45-foot boat or a 47-foot boat. Or if you're on a 30-foot boat, you want a 32-foot boat. Just 2 feet longer. I don't have those symptoms yet, but I'm getting close. Luckily, I think we've got a solution for where we're going to mount this thing. So, this guy with the battery, plus the unit, plus the right angle degree angles up here, like that's pretty tall. In fact, how tall is it? Let's take a look. So, all the way down, all the way up. I don't know, what, call it 22? Yeah, in between 21, 22. And that's the high side. So 22. And then this is 11. And then this is like 17 or something like that. I don't know. So it's a pretty big unit, especially when you have the hoses on it. And per the documentation, you do want to exhaust it to the outdoors. You do want to exhaust it to and take fresh air in. So I'm trying to follow the documentation and hook it up properly. Originally, I wanted to install it right either here in this space or back there. Two problems. This space is wide enough, but it's not tall enough. That space is wide enough, but also not tall enough. Plus, this cutout here is not big enough to get that in. So even if it could work back there, I would have to cut this out to squeeze this big mama jama in there. So then I came out here thinking, what about in the lazarettes? Because that unit is, I wouldn't say waterproof, it's water resistant. That's one of the selling features. What is that noise? Oh, just a boat. So if it's out here in the lazarette, that's not that big of a deal because these are generally not exposed to the environment. So I thought, well, what if I just put it right here in this space? And I measured and it doesn't work. So I put all the stuff back in there. So then I came over here to our favorite lazarette, and it's gonna go on this shelf right here. And then look at the height we have. Ta-da! It goes way up there. Because the cockpit combing, so not only is it sitting low, but it also comes up, and it also comes up to here. Is perfect. This is the perfect spot for it. So that's where it's gonna go. Plus, we have power right there. Plus, 2 overboard drains right there. So I can, remember how I was telling you guys that these units have been really, really good at dehumidifying? So they can pump the water overboard. That's fantastic. I was planning on putting it into the bilge and just letting the bilge pump it out, but this way it'll go straight overboard. And there's a power supply there. And the double and is we're closer to our intake holes and our exhaust. So I'm going to use this hole here for the exhaust, or sorry, the intake. So air, fresh air is going to come in here. And then over here, we're going to use this hole for the exhaust. But we definitely got some good things done today. I've got a plan for the plan. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you just have a good sit down and think. And sometimes that's a yacht of love. We'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.